Hello, in this video I'm going to give a quick review of the Tamron 28 to 75mm f2.8 Mark II lens for Sony E-mount. The same lens is also available to Nikon Z-mount. I shoot both Nikon and Sony, but Sony is my travel camera, so I bought the E-mount version. So first I will talk about build quality, size and weight. This lens is very compact for an f2.8 zoom lens, very lightweight, compact, and it's well built. There's also a programmable button, which is very nice. So it has some nice features. The only downside is this USB-C port. For software upgrade, it's totally exposed. There's no cover. And I suspect if you use this lens at the beach or under some inclement weather conditions, like the camera body, they are fully weather sealed. Lens is weather sealed, but this USB-C port is exposed. Some debris and water or even salty water you shoot at a beach might get into this USB-C port. I would recommend you to use a tape or something to cover this up. Yeah, that's only kind of a downside about this lens. Otherwise, well built, very lightweight, very compact, great for travel. The motivation behind my purchase is that I do own another zoom lens for my Sony E-mount, which I love a lot. This Rokinon 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8 lens. This is tremendously very sharp. Also, the zoom range from 35 to 150 is extremely useful. The downside is that it's extremely heavy. I carried this lens up to two mountains in the past, the Mount Mansfield, and also there's a Cannon Mountain in New Hampshire. Mansfield is in Vermont, and hiking with this lens is really a burden, so I prefer something lightweight and more kind of manageable. Also, if you carry a huge lens like this, you stand out. People will pay attention to you, and this is much more discreet in street situations. So this is a great walk-around lens without the huge weight burden. So highly recommended for travel. Now, next I'm going to talk about image quality. Of course, you want a lightweight lens, but how is the image? The image quality of this lens is very good. First, I want to mention its unique feature, its close focus feature. You can take pictures of small stuff like this dandelions, the flowers, easily with this lens. This lens double as a macro lens, not a real macro lens. For 1:1 magnification, you will need a dedicated macro lens. But this is good enough for a lot of hobbyist situations like these dandelions. This photo was taken at a 75mm. I was on a bridge. These pictures were all taken at Concord, Massachusetts on Memorial Day, 3 days ago. I was on top of the bridge. I was shooting down. You can see 75mm. They give you a certain level of reach. Not telephoto enough for a lot of situations, but for a casual, walk-around lens, this is more than enough. A lot of actually standard zoom ends at 70, 24 to 70. This guy is 28 to 75, slightly different. This is a building of a famous writer in Concord during the American Revolution. You can see the image. This is taken at f8. It's very, color is great sharpness. Color saturation is very nice. This picture is highly compressed, but I can tell you the image quality of this lens is very good. Also, corner sharpness is also very good. There's nothing to complain about this lens. This picture was also shot at f8. You can see the details on the tree trunk. So here's another picture shot at f8. You can see the Old North Bridge. This is where the battle happened on the morning of April 19th, 1775. The side where it took the picture was where the kind of colonists were standing. On the other side of the bridge, it was the red coats. Yeah. Okay, so this is in overall a very sharp lens. Great color, great contrast. Micro contrast is good for zoom lens. Sharpness is also very good. Now let's talk about bokeh. I personally will exclusively use my Nikon camera for portraiture with the prime lenses. So I do not shoot portraiture with zoom lens, but sometimes you may want to take picture with a zoom lens of people. A lot fast. This is f2.8. It's pretty fast. You can see the bokeh is kind of like a grape shaped. It's not busy. It's noticeable. You can see here the kind of light bubbles, the grape shaped. It's not too busy, not too distracting. It has a unique character. Yeah, it's nice bokeh. It's not as buttery smooth as some of the prime lenses or the portrait dedicated like 85 1.4. It has a grape-shaped pattern, but it's nothing distracting. Yeah, it's unlike some of the like Nifty 50 from Canon back in like early 2000s. That lens has a very distracting pentagon-shaped bokeh. This is very smooth and nice. Yeah, but bubble-shaped bokeh. Yeah. The close focusing capability is really a nice feature. You can see these flowers, very close focusing. You do not have to carry a macro lens most of the time and still be able to take pictures of flowers and stuff. That being said, this lens is not as sharp and does not produce the same level of bokeh and a micro contrast as a dedicated prime lens. Like this picture was taken with my Nikon 50mm F1.8 S lens. You can see inside a very dark restaurant. There's plenty of detail, very sharp, good micro contrast. The bokeh is buttery smooth. So in terms of image quality, this is not as good as a prime lens, modern prime lens, like the Nikon 51.8 S lens. Another area I want to point out is chromatic aberration. By the way, this lens is very resistant to flare, so I don't see it's a problem under most situations. But you do notice under high contrast situations the chromatic aberration, the purple and bluish fringing, and they are visible even if you are looking at the picture at no magnification. You don't have to zoom in. You will notice this area, the color is off, but it's not too distracting. This kind of amount of chromatic aberration is very typical for this kind of lenses. It has a better it's way better of flare resistance and better chromatic aberration than a lot of similar zoom lenses. For example, this bad boy, the Rokinon 35 to 150 f2 2.8 lens. I also own this lens. This is a fantastic lens, but it's way too heavy, so I probably will be carrying my Tamron lens on most of my trips on foot. Yeah, but this lens is more susceptible to lens flare, and also the chromatic aberration is a bit more under high contrast situations. So for a zoom lens, it's nothing out of ordinary. The amount of chromatic aberration exhibited by this lens is totally acceptable. Yeah, it's nothing out of ordinary, and it's actually well controlled. In contrast, I will show you another picture of the this kind of building and tree taken by the Nikon 51.8 S lens. You can see the chromatic aberration is literally non-existent under high contrast situations. So this is just there is an image quality difference between these lenses. The prime lens still rules. Modern mirrorless prime lens with the low dispersion glass still rules in terms of image quality, but this zoom lens is very good. Here are a few more pictures taken with this 28 to 75 zoom lens. This is a picture of the Boston College. You can see this was taken a few months ago, so the leaves haven't come out yet, but it's still a very beautiful picture. You can see the building, the person in the foreground. The flowers are blossoming. I can see the daffodils and beautiful flowers, and the building in the background is pretty sharp. This is a picture of the kind of church on campus. It's also a very nice picture. For a zoom lens, I have nothing to complain about. This is a very good lens. Small, lightweight, well built, very sharp, great micro contrast, chromatic aberration very well controlled, and it just delivers. Yeah, it's the lens with a very useful focal range from 28 to 75. It's a great walk-around lens with the added feature of serving as a second like macro lens with a close focusing capability. So I highly recommend this lens for travel. Obviously, you will encounter all kinds of situations. It's great to have a lens like this instead of a, say, 50mm prime lens, because you will miss a lot of shots with the prime lens. It cannot zoom. So overall, highly recommend it. The last thing but not least, the cost. This lens is among the cheapest f2.8 zoom lens you can buy today in the market. I'm not saying in the future there may be lens made in China with autofocus with a zoom range comparable to this lens and sells for lower, but you can get this lens for anywhere between 600 to 700 today. I bought mine used a few months ago from Amazon. It's almost new condition, a very good lens. And the other cheaper alternatives are like Samyang's. There's a 24 to 60 f2.8, and there's also an old 24 24-70 f2.8. I think the 24-60 is cheaper than this one. You can get it for like below 600, but the 24-70 is comparable in price. And everything else, f2.8 constant aperture, zoom range, comparable zoom range like 24-70, will cost more. I believe the Sigma version cost 1100, yeah, and that first party lenses from Sony, Nikon, and Canon, they all are well over like 1500 or something. So this lens is a very low cost lens, highly recommended for hobbyists, and also lightweight is a plus. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Bye.